So growing up for you, what do you think's like, as you reflect on growing up all the way up into graduating from high school, what were some things that stood out to you that were very impactful for your life, whether it be like really funny memories or just great lessons or even painful memories as well?
Well, I think some of the like funner's a word.
Yeah.
Memories are, I think high school, we end up winning our championship of our, we won our conference senior year in football.
Yeah.
And that was something we always wanted to do.
What position did you play? Dope. Another episode of Adversity King. So special guest and really a mentor to me. And I guess essentially, when I started in this industry, I started in your bloodline per se. And without any further ado, we have Tommy Vena. How's it going, brother?
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for, coming out here and doing this. So
for sure.
Massive,
place looks great.
Yeah. Massive favor. Thank you. And so I really wanted to open up real quick. I was telling you before we hopped into this, I was like, I don't like our interviews being like, or the podcast being pretty much like identical to anybody. There's some styles that I'm fond of, but I really like it to be chill, laid back, nonchalant. I like to open up with kind of painting a story of your life for the audience and the people that listen. And so I'd like to start with, where were you born?
Yeah. Okay. Well, where was I born? I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So right where I met you, actually.
Yes. Now with you born in the Burgh, are your parents first generation Italian? Like, are they like?
So yeah, my father was born in Pittsburgh as well.
Okay.
Yep. And then, but my nana came over on a boat.
Yes.
From Italy. So I don't know what's considered first generation.
I don't know either. I've heard it around here, and I thought it sounded cool.
So first generation is like is that the first generation that came over? Or is it the first generation that was born here?
I don't know.
So that's how, regardless, that's how it happened for us.
Now,
my nana came over, and then she had my dad.
Are you 100% Italian?
No.
Okay. So now your mom, what's she then?
My mom, she's like Polish.
Okay.
And Irish.
Okay.
And I believe the rest Italian.
Have you ever seen the movie Kill the Irishman?
I have not. Kill the Irishman?
It's a really good. It's like a mob movie.
Okay.
It's I highly recommend it. It was
Kill the Irishman.
Have you seen the movie Kill the Irishman, Aiden?
Oh, Kill the Irishman?
Yeah, it's an old. This is a movie made in like the 90s or 2000s.
Yeah.
Phenomenal movie. Like absolutely phenomenal movie.
Huh? Who's in it?
Let me look it up.
Kill the Irishman.
Yeah, let me see.
Now, isn't there a movie called like The Irishman?
There's a movie called The Irishman.
Irishman.
And that came out here recently.
That's about pretty much Chicago, right? A lot of Chicago.
I think so, yeah. Hoffa.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Kill the Irishman, I was actually way off. I guess just my young eyes. But it came out in 2011, not the 90s.
Okay.
And it's about the union in Cleveland. And it has Ray Stevenson, Vincent D'Onofrio, Val Kilmer, and Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I can't say I heard of that one.
Dude,
I'm gonna check it out though.
Dude, I like if you gotta like mob movies.
If it's a mob movie, I can't believe I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean it's definitely mob. Like it's got that style. It's a great movie. Aiden, you gotta watch it too. So, mom Irish Polish, dad Italian. Now, I guess growing up, were you close with your grandparents on both sides?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I was really close with my grandfather. He lived with us when I was growing up for a couple of years, so I got really close with him. And then my nana, I actually lived with her my freshman year of high school. So I lived with them. I moved out of my parents' house to live with my nana, and that's just a funny story in itself. Imagine living with your nana, who pretty much speaks Italian, don't really speak any English.
Yeah.
She lived, you won't believe this, she lived with her ex-husband, Joe Vena, which is the man that she married when she came over on an arranged marriage. So she came over on an arranged marriage from Italy to marry Joe Vena.
Yeah.
And then they had a child, and that was my dad.
Yeah.
Well, then they got divorced, and she remarried, and she married Joe Moresky.
Okay.
Right? And then they got divorced, and then she got her own house. And then Joe Moresky needed somewhere to live and needed someone to take care of him because he was blind.
Yeah.
So she let him move in. And then Vena was living with her sister, and her sister moved to Florida. Everybody took care of Vena because without Vena, nobody would be here.
Yeah.
You know, so her sister, Mary, was letting Joe live there.
Yeah.
And then Mary moved to Florida, and Joe didn't have nowhere to live. So my nana let Vena move in. So now she's living with her ex-husband, Vena, and her ex-husband, Joe Moreski.
Wow.
And one was blind, and one was pretty much drank wine a lot all day, you know, and
Wow.
spoke nothing but Italian. And then I lived there in the basement as a freshman.
In college or high school?
High school. So I'm like 13, 14 years old, and this
Wow.
is my experience.
Now, where'd you go to school?
I went to pretty much a Catholic school my whole life. So I just met somebody the other day. She was so proud, this lady at the restaurant. And she was like, I'm here. I went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic high school in Loyola, private college. And I was like, me too.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, except my freshman year. My freshman year of high school, I decided that I was going to go to a public school because I knew how much money it cost to go to a Catholic school. And I was like, I'm going to try and maybe save my family money. Let's just go to a public school. We don't need to spend all that money.
Yeah.
So I went to a public school. And the only way I could do that is I would have to move in with my nana and say I lived there because she lived in the school district where I needed to go to school.
Yeah.
If I would have went to the school district where I lived, I would have went to Langley. If you're from Pittsburgh, you might know about Langley. I don't think it's even open anymore, just to tell you about it. And there was bad and then there's real bad, you know. So I couldn't go to Langley, so I went to Montour for my freshman year. It was my only year I attended a public school. And after a year there, got in a little, maybe not the best couple situations, and I ended up going back to Canevin. So I went to a Catholic school for my last 3 years and graduated from Bishop Canevin. And then went to Allegheny College up in Meadville.
I went to a Catholic school for 3rd and 4th grade.
Which one was that?
It was in Mount Pleasant. Do you know where Mount Pleasant is in PA?
Definitely. Which one was it?
It was Verna Montessori.
Verna Montessori. Okay.
Yeah. So it was nuns, and they were, and they were nuts. Yeah. Like they were really nuts. And instead of like Spanish class, we had Italian class. Like I remember reading like they were trying to force us to learn Italian. Like it was really Catholic. Like it was nuts. I remember we were trying to read Pinocchio in Italian, and I like look back, I'm like, holy fuck, that was hard. third grade, and we were doing a lot. We were doing the most.
That's awesome.
I mean, it built character. You know what I mean? It was a very interactive learning style. The Montessori school systems. Bezos loves them.
So it was a Montessori.
Yeah.
But it was a Catholic.
But it was a cat. It was like a hybrid, dude. It was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was extreme.
We sent our son Tommy to a Montessori school for preschool, I think. And it was definitely it wasn't a Catholic one. It definitely didn't have any nuns. The ladies were pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, Bezos loves them. He I think he's trying to like fund and build in Washington like a significant amount of like Montessori schools. I think he puts a lot of money into it.
It's a good foundational type of learning.
Yeah.
From what I learned, it's kind of like processes. You know, you start out and they're able to complete like this 10 chain, and then by the end they complete like a chain of like 1,000 things in a row, and they could see it and do. Yeah. That's what it teaches them. So I think it's, you know, pretty. I mean, you've seen the results.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up for you, what do you think's like, you know, as you reflect on growing up all the way up into graduating from high school, you know, what were some things that stood out to you that were very impactful for your life, whether it be like really funny memories or just great lessons or even painful memories as well?
Well, I think some of the like funner, you know, funner's a word.
Yeah.
Memories are, you know, I think high school, you know, we end up winning our championship of our, you know, we won our conference senior year in football.
Yeah.
And that was something we always wanted to do.
What position did you play?
Wide receiver.
Yep.
So, you know, I think regardless, I would have said playing high school football was still something memorable, but it's more memorable when you win something. So
absolutely.
That made it even more memorable. Now, what made it special was that, you know, me and my cousin were really tight growing up, but he always went to a different school.
Yeah.
And we always dreamt of playing on the same football team together. Well, he got to transfer to our high school, and we got to play on the same football team together and win that championship, you know, so that's a good memory. Family, you know,
Yeah.
like it's a family situation.
Uranko?
No, my cousin TJ.
Okay.
Yeah, my cousin TJ Bencho.
Okay.
So, so yeah, and then I don't know, man. Spending time with my grandfather. You know, you're looking at a certain period of time, I guess, in life. You know, high school, right? So, you know, spending time with him. He got to come to all of our football games. You know, he was like our biggest cheerleader. We'd have to show up at the football. You know, you show up to the game. The game's at 7:00. You got to be at the field at 4, right?
Yeah.
He'd be like, "I'm coming with you." He'd show up at 4:00 before the game. And he'd walk around the field, and you know,
Yeah.
So you know, those were some good times. And you know, my parents were always going to, you know, they were there for everything. My dad coached me growing up, you know, even though he worked 2 jobs. You know, my dad worked 2 jobs, but growing up, I never knew he worked. I knew he worked 2 jobs, but I didn't like know he worked 2 jobs because he was never there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew he worked 2 jobs because that's what he did. He worked 2 jobs, but he always took me to practice, picked me up from practice, and maybe after practice a few times, maybe I had to stop. You don't notice, but my dad had his life insurance license, and he was selling life insurance when he was picking me up from practice. After practice, we just stopped by one of his clients' house so he could get paperwork filled out. And
Wow.
I'm sitting on the porch playing with the kids. He's inside meeting with Joe and Mary,
Yeah.
you know, and then we'd get back in the pickup truck and we'd go home.
Yeah.
And I'd get my baseball stuff off and get a bath, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't know no different. In fact, I would, you know, almost you say like some people like, oh, my dad's never around. He works. My dad was around. He worked at the same time and never made excuses. But if he wasn't, I'd be proud of that fact. Almost proud of it, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you know, him always coaching was awesome for sure. You know, I think playing sports for me was just the thing that made everything a lot better. School,
Yeah.
you know, all the sports, you know.
Who do you think was most influential in your life growing up?
Probably my dad.
Yeah.
You know, he always gave me the advice and the wisdom,
Mm.
you know, that sometimes I'd listen and sometimes I wouldn't and find out it was true.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's always right. Typically, I can't say many times where I can even, you know, so
Yeah.
I caught him not so my dad probably and my mom, them two, but them two mostly they raised me and you know, pretty much always had my back.
Yeah.
Right. So
Now you also went to school in Erie, right?
I went to a school in Meadville, which is like a half hour south of Erie. So it was like pretty much in Meadville or pretty much in Erie.
Yeah.
You know, but Meadville is like.
That's where you went to college.
Yeah.
So where'd you
Yeah.
go to college then?
It was called Allegheny College, and it was a small Division III school. I think we graduated with like 500 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
What made you decide on going there?
Well, I wanted to play football still, and you know there was a couple of schools that I liked that we went on. You know, after you graduate or right when you graduate, and these schools will take you on trips. So I got to do overnight stays.
Yeah.
At a couple of different colleges before you go there, and they usually assign you a person. And what they'll do is, I don't know, have you ever do this before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so what they'll do is they'll assign you a person, and this person's job is to take you out for the night and show you the college campus and the nightlife. So I did this at a couple different colleges, and my time at Allegheny. My really good friend, best man in my wedding, basically he's my cousin. I call him my cousin. He went there, and he took me out for the night, and I just had a great time, and I felt comfortable going there because this guy went to grade school with me, he went to high school with me, and now I'm going to be able to go to college with him. Same guy, right? And he was my boy. And we lived right up the street from each other. We rode the bus to school every day.
Yeah.
So basically, Cousin Lee was going there, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I chose to go to Allegheny. Really,
What was college like for you? What was the overall experience?
I wanted to quit, and in my first semester, I was away from home. I didn't know anybody. I'm used to being in a city in Pittsburgh, and now I'm in Meadville. There's like nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I didn't let my roommate. They stick you with a roommate that you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I filled out a personality profile or what I did, but somehow they matched me up with this person, thinking that me and this person were gonna get along.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought opposites attract or something.
Yeah.
Because it was tough. So that didn't help the situation. I'm stuck in a room, and the guy slept on the bottom. I slept on the top bunk and snored every night. It was everything. It was like out of a movie almost. It was almost out of a movie. Like he snored at night. He didn't drink, which is fine, but I'm a freshman in college and I had a couple beers in the fridge and he came home. It was like out of a movie. He was like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" He's like, "If the RA finds this, we're going to be kicked out of college. My mom, she would disown me." She's like, it was so over. It was over the top with like literally everything, And I'm not saying I was trying to be a party animal at all. I was just like
having a little fun.
So anyways, all of these things added up. I called my dad. I said, "I'm coming home." He said, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
He said, "You're not allowed." And he told me like, I'm not allowed to quit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not allowed. I wanted to quit, come home. I was easy, easy decision for me. Easy, right? So, so college at first was rough. But I did it, and it ended up being a lot of quality versus quantity. Like there wasn't a big campus with 14,000 people. There's 2,000 people. But our 2,000 was like quality,
Yeah.
So that's kind of the takeaway from college there. And, I learned a lot, obviously, and got a, economics degree. So I knew I wanted to get into money and finances and stuff. And then I graduated and ended up trying to become a real estate agent, which was fun for a minute.
Yeah.
And then my dad told me there's no residual income in that. So I stopped becoming a real estate agent. I like to tell people I became a real estate agent for one day and then I retired.
Yeah, I remember your overview.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
And after that, I jumped in and became a financial advisor for the idea of building financial residual income in the financial services industry. So, there's a lot to learn about that. The financial industry is
so vast.
It's crazy. There's so
Did you get any of the series licenses?
Yeah, so in order you had to have your Series 7 and Series 66 in order to start.
What's the difference between a Series 6 and a Series 7?
So Series 6, I believe you can do like annuities.
Yeah.
You can do annuities and like universal policies and things of that nature. But a Series 7, you can trade stocks.
Okay.
You can trade actual mutual funds, ETFs, UITs. You could people managed funds. You could do a what's called a variable annuity.
Yeah.
Versus just a fixed annuity or an index annuity. You could do a variable life insurance policy, a VUL, variable universal. So the Series 7 allowed me to do that. And, I took advantage of the VUL when I was younger, for myself, for the investment aspect. But I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You have to manage
about
that.
it now.
You have to manage those, and you have to stay active with that. I know people get all say like, "Oh man, what about annuities?" And they say, "Well, I sell annuities." I'm like, I don't know about that. That's annuities for a very, very, very special person. I very, very rarely, I could put everybody in annuities and made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Put it that way. The only person that really wins with the annuity most is the person selling the annuity.
Yeah.
They pay a lot of money because you have to lock them up. They have surrender charges. So
you can.
So the company loves to sell annuities because as soon as they get it, they got it.
Yeah.
And you can't touch it for 10 years. So they'll pay you easy 5%. They'll pay you a good rip up front on it.
Yeah.
So very few people I did the annuities for, but. A couple it made sense for.
Now, before we completely jump into, you know, you transitioning into the financial services industry, one thing I was curious about, my best friend growing up was Italian, and like every Sunday, my favorite thing to do was to see if he was going to his grandma's, because they would just have like a feast, and it was like homemade.
Yeah.
Did you do that? Did you guys have a Sunday Italian homemade feast?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Where was that? Was that at Nana's?
Growing up, you don't realize it, you know, but it was like had to have like every
it was like part of their like culture.
Every Sunday we went to Nana's house, and if it was the summertime, my dad would usually wash his truck.
Yeah.
You know, we'd go swimming.
Yeah, they had like a little pool, cars would be out.
Sunday dinner at my Nana's house, all homemade. She had a huge tomato garden, you know, a lot of tomatoes.
Yes.
All homemade. She jarred them up, put them in the jars, you know, and stuck them in the basement, this big cinder block room in the basement, like on all these wooden shelves were just filled with jars of
I feel like every Italian family has like a meeting place, because this sounds exactly like his grandma's house. And they had the garden, they had a grape, like it was a
grapes.
Small they had a small it was because they lived in Jeanette, but they had a small like little grape vineyard, you know what I mean? There was like 2 solid vines, and it was brick basement, bunch of jars, but everything was just fire.
So you remember that, right?
That was like, if I think back to like my favorite times growing up, we'd go over, we'd play football just tackle football in her front backyard thing, and they'd be cooking. We'd all go in, and they'd shit talk each other, and we would just eat. You know what I mean? It was put football on, laugh, and get yelled at by his pap in Italian, basically, and it was a fun time.
Drinking some vino.
I have no idea what we were drinking. They usually we got pop, you know what I mean, from downstairs.
Yeah.
But so you retire from the real estate after a day, and then you're a financial advisor. How long did you? I want to say it was a year. How long were you a financial advisor?
No, I mean, it was 3 years.
3 years?
3 years probably. Yeah, 3 years in the game, because I was 24 when I met Simon.
Yep.
And it was May, I think we made the I think I met him in maybe like March or April.
Yeah.
And we talked through April, and then in May, I said, all right, I'm going to do this. But I took the whole month of May to transition, because I had to call my clients and tell them all.
Did you have a favorite client, like anybody that was like, damn?
Yeah, I had a couple.
Yeah.
Smitty was my favorite, just to hang out with Smitty and Dottie. Smitty, they were my dad's friends from work, and he was just always just fun to hang out with. You know, and that's really what, you know, I learned is some of the top financial advisors, they don't take on clients that they don't like to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
But people who are, you know, struggling, they'll just take on anybody, you know, and they got to deal with that type of stuff. So I've learned from talking to these they're like, I got rules, you know, and if they don't meet this criteria, and one of those rules and criteria is, it's called the Cringe Rule. If this client calls me and I cringe and I don't want to answer that call, it's like, I don't want to work with them. Yeah. You know, so that's kind of cool.
It's like a good hiring rule too.
So that's what I said in our business. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was like, I feel like he's using this to like reference. He definitely taught his deal to this. So.
Yeah, for sure. Because I took that from him. He was my neighbor. You know, it's funny. I was I got to move into this neighborhood, and I looked around in the neighborhood, and I tried to see like, what do all these people do? Yeah. You remember the Heights of North Park? Yeah. In Pittsburgh. You know, they're all these $1 million houses and stuff, and I'm trying to figure. So I looked in the directory, right? Yeah. Guess what they all were? It was all like 3 things. It was doctors, right? Yep. Doctors, some sort of doctor, like a surgeon, whatever type, some sort of doctor. It was business owners, like they owned like businesses. Yeah. Right. And it was financial services industry. Yeah. Those were like 90% of the people. And then we had a couple of sports players, like the guy that played for the Penguins. He was the coach for the Penguins. Yeah. maybe Mark Recchi was his
There's
name.
nothing better than going to a Pens game also, by the way.
Oh, yeah. You're
Pens
right.
games are so fun.
You're right. Have you been to a Blackhawks game?
I haven't. I was going to ask you. I was going to bring that up. I got a nice Blackhawks jersey in the back.
Yeah, they're different. Definitely different, but equally as fun, I'd say. Equally as fun.
Yeah.
Just different. If you go to a Blackhawks game, here's just definitely, if you go to a Blackhawks game, here's what you have to make it there for the national anthem.
Yeah.
If you come to a Blackhawks game and you go there just for the national anthem and just something happens and you got to leave,
Yeah.
right? It was worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that
They go nuts in there. Everybody sings along.
it is intense.
That's dope.
It is intense.
That's dope, especially in like, I guess, rough times. You know what I mean, with division across the nation at times. So that's probably a really cool experience.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just a tradition that they have here.
Yeah.
Especially when their guy comes out and sings, and I forget his name, Cornelius or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name. But,
Yeah.
But the Penguins got, was it Jeff Jimerson?
So where's he from?
He's from Pittsburgh.
And he sings?
He sings the national anthem in Pittsburgh. So if you ever do a Penguins game and you got, Jeff Jimerson singing, it's a real treat.
Is Fleury on the Blackhawks?
Fleury was traded to the Vegas.
But was he ever on the Blackhawks?
No.
I want to say my jersey says Fleury.
You have a Blackhawks jersey with Fleury on it?
I'm like,
I haven't been up to date this year. That he could have been traded here, and that would be pretty cool. Because then we'll be able to go check out.
Let's see here where he's playing right now.
The Flower.
Dude, look, the first picture that comes up, Blackhawks.
Wow, how about that?
So I told my guys when I got this jersey, I was like, you know what? This jersey's gonna be worth something one day, maybe a couple extra bucks or something, because this dude is from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I can remember I remember being like 12 years old or something like that, and he was just a killer. You know what I mean? That was Pens were on fire. You had a young Crosby, you had Malkin, you had Fleury, just kind of like that big three. And it was like, I feel like there was like 2 years where they like won the cup like back to back or something.
Oh yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts.
Flower, he's my favorite out of all the goalies probably of all time. You know, for the Pens. I think he's probably my favorite. I was sad when they let him go and they start, messing around. They start putting in different goalies, and I understand all that, I guess. But he went to another team and they kicked butt.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they did well. So you get into you take the time, you transition. But before we completely jump in, what's the hardest adversity you've overcome in your life up until this point too? Because I feel like,
it wasn't even me really, But side note, before I answer, because I wanted to just tell you real quick, Brody, right?
Yes.
And Brody's brother Chad, owns the Wheel Connection.
Yes.
And he does all the players. So he does the Steelers and the Browns.
Yeah, he does like everything.
He does a lot of the Penguins. He does Chris Letang. Well, one of his main clients is Fleury.
Wow.
And every time, I'd be down there, one of Fleury's cars will be, in his shop, right?
Yeah.
So I was just little side.
No,
note.
Chad
Fleury
always
was
has sick cars. Brody or Chad will send them to me, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's sick. That's sick. That one cornerback or something for the Steelers.
Hayden?
He always got some Rolls Royce or something down there.
Yeah. I think he had, last time I there was like a real nice white Wraith he had sitting there. Yeah, there's always something sweet. But yeah, back to the question though, as far as adversity goes, is it was not really me, it wasn't my personal adversity. It was my son,
What about before? So I wanted to get into that. So I would imagine that would be him. Before you had your family, was there anything that was like a major pivotal moment in life, adversity-wise?
I mean, I was injured a few times. I was in a car accident. Was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
I'd say that the car accident would be the biggest one. Being in the hospital for a few different injuries definitely, is something.
But now that you can look into the adversity you face in your entire life, which is your son, what you had faced there, it's incomparable. So that's probably where it's like.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse, I guess. You never want to take your car into a telephone pole, at high speeds,
Yeah.
And you get knocked out and you wake up and it's an absolute mess. I mean, I couldn't believe that I was alive. And afterwards, there's a lot of rehab. I was blind in my right eye for a week and all kind of stuff.
Oh, that would suck.
I could just go on and on about the details of that.
Yeah.
But the adversity of that was, overcoming it. It's crazy because you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So like, for life, that'd be too late.
Yeah.
You can't start appreciating life after it's gone.
Yeah.
So, for me, it was like I probably should have, not made it through that car accident.
Yeah.
And then I did, and then you have this realization, like, holy crap, I was spared. Why was I spared?
How old were you?
I was 23, 10 days before my 24th birthday. And then a year later is when I started with AIL.
Wow.
In July of 08. So that was like July of 07, I believe.
And then when did you have your son, Antonio?
I said Tommy in 2012 and Antonio in 2018.
And so now with the adversity you faced with him, has that been the hardest adversity you've faced in your entire life?
I'm sorry, Antonio is 2016.
Okay.
I correct. He's November 18, 2016. So
he's November
18. 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're both November?
No, Tommy's May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then the adversity with him, that's the hardest out of your entire life?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you know when he was being born that he had... Now, what exactly was wrong with his heart, right?
Yeah, so before he was born, they identified it, which is huge, modern-day technology. If they didn't and he was born, they would have to try and figure out, and it could be too late, and bad stuff could happen. So they had a whole pre-planned out plan for whenever he was born for exactly what they were going to do. Like, all right, you could do this, then we got to have him here, then in a couple hours we got to do this, they had it all planned out. So that was huge. The team we worked with was amazing, but they told us a couple months, before he was born, about the situation. And I'm not good with that stuff, so I end up almost passing out in the room with the doctors. I'm laying on the floor, they're telling me about it. And then, then they had the plan and everything. So they identified, he had CHD, extended heart disease. Part of his heart didn't form, so they had to have, surgeries lined up for him. So he did one like probably 3 days old. I mean, he's a small little baby, so 3 days old. And then right around maybe 3 months, and then a little bit after a year. So he had 3 open heart surgeries in his first year, but for 6 months, he was born, and then for 6 months we had to live in the hospital. So for us, I mean, we did for whatever I go through is nothing compared to that. I couldn't even be like, oh man, I didn't get a shower today, or oh man, or what are you talking about? Like, and there's nurses and doctors and a lot of people that had a hand in making sure that everything went the way it needed to go. But yeah, I don't think if you want to say with adversity, that was the biggest, adversity we faced as a family. And what's nice is we had, number one, just amazing doctors, and hospital and nurses who are like angels almost. These girls, I mean, these nurses, number one, they're taking care of it, but then they had to deal with parents and people worried, and they were just like amazing. But then, my wife was super strong through the whole thing, and I think that made Antonio strong. If she was stressed, and of course she was stressed, but if she was letting it pour into him, he would feel that. I felt like, but everything was positive in the room, and we tried to keep it as, positive as possible. And, then the rest of the family came in and, supported us, and then all of our friends supported us, and we had just people from all around, sending pictures of hearts for Antonio, and So I think all that helped. As crazy you might think it is, I mean, it's a lot of things had to go right for him to, have the success that they had in all those. One little thing in one operation goes wrong, and it could be bad. And we have 3 of them miraculously.
Now he's had 3 total.
Yeah, 3 of them. Yep. And if you meet him today, he's the happiest kid on earth.
And is he in sports?
You would never know. He just started he just started doing wrestling practice right now.
Okay.
He's 5.
Yeah.
So next year we'll let him compete. But this year we would take Tommy to practice, and he would be at the door. I want to go to practice.
Yeah.
So after 3 months, two months of him asking, I said, all right, let's go.
Now, does he have to wear? I went to school with a kid. He had to wear a guard. I don't know if it was a similar.
No, they didn't say anything about it to us.
Yeah.
Maybe he should.
That's so dope.
He's
though.
not.
Yeah, well, it's dope to see him thriving and everything. I saw him running around.
He
and
runs around. He don't even
practice.
really, he don't know nothing. Parents won't know unless you show somebody. Nobody would know.
Yeah.
He's just happy because nothing can phase him after that.
Yeah.
And
like you guys either as a family, it's like, you know what I mean? Something goes
you
bad.
Get
it's like, we've had
good
worse.
sense of appreciation.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we jumped a little ahead. How far were you into the insurance industry at that point?
Yeah. So, I was with, I was in a financial advisor for 3 years. So, and then, I've been here now going on 14, so 17 years total.
Yeah.
Antonio's 5. So that was probably about 11 years in.
Wow. And then with AIL though, you were
8
years in.
8 or 9.
What was your first year like? What was the first month like even? You know what I mean? So you started in May, transitioning. So June was your first month?
July. Yeah, June was training. So training was interesting.
Before you start ripping, I can remember you it was towards the end of my first year, and I read a decent amount of business, and you were showing us your P&P or something from your first year, and you were like, by my 3rd month, I did $84,000 in business. Do you guys know how I did $84,000 in business? And I'm like, how the fuck did he write $84,000? And he was like, I didn't write $84,000 in business. My team did, because we were developing and recruiting. Why would I go out and spend all my time writing all this business when I can help others make a lot of money and protect a lot of families as well and get paid to do so? And I'm like, I'm such a fucking idiot. Why do I've been doing this 15 months out here banging on as many doors as well as like I could be sharing the opportunity more. And to this day, I use that. I think about that. You know what I mean? So many key things that just seeds and things you planted that have made a lot of people rich. You know what I mean, bro? Brody Evanson, you know what I mean? Driving around a McLaren every day. So that's
Brody, man, super coachable.
Super coachable. So sorry to steal away from the thunder of your first year, but I can remember from what you've told me about your first year.
Yeah.
What it did for me and just inspiration.
Yeah, I guess I could go back. It was like I said, I was 24, turning 25. It was July 2008. That was, I think, when I came to AIL.
Yeah.
Pretty darn sure that was it. And I remember, everybody was giving commitments in the meeting for what they're going to do for the month. And people were committing these numbers. And I'm like, whatever they commit, it got to be higher. It's just like bidding.
Yeah.
So at the end, I made sure I committed $30,000 for the month. That was my big commitment. And I never wrote a piece of business before in my life. I was just in 2 weeks of training.
Yeah.
So I go back in my car and I realized that, okay, you just told your SGA that you're going to do $30,000 this month. Now what? And I was like, well, let's start figuring it out. And I figured there's 31 days in the month. So you're basically going to need to write 1,000 a day every day. And so I went out there and that was my number one main goal, was to say you're going to do something, make sure that you do it. Right. So, but I missed my number, and I came in, I did like 24,000 or something. And, I also focused that month on bringing people into the business and building my team, because I also told Simon that I knew a bunch of people. I told him that I was going to have a big team built, and I had to make sure I followed up on that.
Yeah.
So I brought 10 people in that month, and they start coming in the door the following month. And, you know, before you know it, I looked up and I had a team of 10 people. You know, maybe I think 7 of them were trained, like 7 of them, 3 of them were in training. 3 of them were like just getting trained up. And then maybe I had like 3 of them right in business. And then sure enough, I think it was my 4th month actually, is when we did those numbers you were talking about.
Yeah.
So it was like my 4th month, and I had like 10 people or something, and you know, we did like 80-some thousand or whatever the number, 84, whatever it said. And that was my first 4 months, you know, in the business. And what it was like was just absolute craziness every day.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first 4 months, but I was just jumping in and trying to, you know, fake it till I can make it for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. Leading from the front, making sure that I was definitely not telling somebody to do something that I wasn't doing myself or wasn't willing to do. That was a big thing I was like really obsessed with.
What'd you make your first year?
So my first year, how about this? My first year out of college, I worked with Ameriprise Financial as a financial advisor. I worked 80 hours a week, no vacations, cold called and prospected, and paid for all my own events and everything. And I made $35,000 that year.
I feel like that's still like a victory.
Right year out of college.
Yeah,
Not too
for
bad.
sure.
I thought everybody was telling me I was doing good. They gave me an award from the company.
Yeah.
You know. So my second year out of college, I did the same thing, 80 hours a week, grinded, no vacations, and I made like 50. And then my third year, I was getting up there. I was making good like 70, 75 maybe. And, you know, that's when I met Simon.
Yep.
And he explained to me the opportunity. And based upon that, like, he didn't sell me. He didn't have to sell me. There was no dressing it up or, you know, nothing. He literally wrote on a sheet. I think there was a sheet of paper, and we flipped it over, and we used the back of a sheet of paper.
How'd you guys meet?
And that's a, you know, I'll tell you that story in a second too.
Okay.
He wrote on a sheet of paper with a pen.
Yeah.
And just said, "Here's how it works," and I couldn't believe it. So, you know, after showing me that was, you know, that was the hook, line, and sinker right there. But yeah, Simon, and he moved to Pittsburgh at the beginning of the year and started the agency, and he reached out to some people that he already knew. So in his agency that he started with, was in Cleveland. So he's in Cleveland. He gets promoted to a state director. He moves to Pittsburgh, and he's like, I don't know anybody in Pittsburgh. And he knew like a few people. And one of these people that he knew, he met when he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I guess what they did is they had a recognition meeting, and they had the Cleveland Cavalier cheerleaders come in.
Yeah.
and I guess do a dance and a cheer for all the winners or whatever. And one of those cheerleaders was my friend Janelle, and Simon met her at that recognition meeting. And I guess they stayed in contact. And when he moved to Pittsburgh, he put 2 and 2 together. He's like, wait, I remember she's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So he contacted her and told her, hey, I'm looking to, you know, hire, recruit, train, develop, mentor some people in the business. You know, who do you know in the city of Pittsburgh that you could introduce me to? And she called me up and she said, hey, you know, I know this guy. I don't know what he does. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to go meet with him. And I'm like, you're always talking about something, right? So I kind of just shrugged her off, you know. And she ended up telling me one night, she's like, we're going to go to the club on Saturday night. But before we do that, we're going to go to my cousin's 21st birthday party. Will you come? You know, my dad's going to be there. And her dad and mom are cool, you know. And so I wanted to go and hang out with them anyway. So we went there. And she also told the same thing to Simon. She's like, hey, come to my cousin's 21st birthday party.
Yeah.
So, and that's how she had us meet, because she's like, them two got to meet.
Yeah.
And she like kind of tricked us into meeting, kind of,
Yes.
you know. And then from there, we went that night, just like the whole plan was, we were going to go out after. So we went out after, and Simon, we go to get in the car, and he's like, just, you know, I think I followed him down to like the south side of Pittsburgh, and then we parked my car and I jumped in his car, and he's driving a white 745 BMW.
Yeah.
And that is the car that like the president of the company would drive. If you're like 55 years old with gray hair and you finally were the president of the company, like that's the car you would drive.
Yeah.
That was my dream car. I said, when I'm 50 and I'm retired, I'm getting a 740, and he had it at 24 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute. How did you have a 745 at 24 and I'm 24? We graduated the same day. It was Mother's Day. We both graduated on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So how after 3 years, and he's like, he obviously showed me that it's just a different vehicle. Like I was over here and I was driving my vehicle and he was driving his vehicle, but he's lapping everybody.
Yeah.
Right? How come he's, because it's a different vehicle. I was driving like a beat up station wagon from, you know, Chevy Chase's movies, you know, National Lampoons, right?
Yeah.
He's driving a brand new Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know, in the movie when he's driving down the road
Mm-hmm.
and he looks over and there's that like young blonde driving a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But he's driving a station wagon.
Yeah.
Like that was me. And then there's the Ferrari and just.
That's the double tech.
You know.
What's going on?
So that's kind of how I always use that comparison, because I don't know. To me, it makes the most sense. It's what happened. What was happening for me, you know, my life is I was stuck in that vehicle. So I saw his vehicle, which was the 745, and then I found out that the vehicle to get that vehicle was AIL. So then I saw that vehicle.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to get out of this vehicle. I got to get in this vehicle so I could drive that vehicle.
Yes. Get into the right vehicle so you can get into the right vehicle. So when did you start winning across the company entirely? Like what year did you, because there was a few years you were number one RGA.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't anything in really relatable in the company, you know, when I was an agent, when I was an SA. But when I was a GA, before I became an MGA, which was my main goal, I wanted to be an MGA so bad, but I told myself you can't be an MGA until you master being a GA, because the better you are here, the better you're going to be here. So, you know, I told myself until you're in the Spotlight magazine as a GA, for like top GA in the company for a month at least, you can't go be an MGA. So I put together and made sure that we rallied up and put together a big month as a GA. And then I was in the Spotlight and I was like, all right, I hit my numbers. I was in the Spotlight. Then I was comfortable being in it. I didn't want to just go become an MGA and then be like, now what? I wanted to be an MGA and be like, I already been doing this stuff for a couple months already. Yeah. You know? So
and then when did you start secure? Like when was the first year you were number one in the company, whether it be MGA or RGA?
Well, I never was number one MGA. Because as soon as my MGA team got really
you started
big,
pumping out MGAs.
I promoted a bunch of MGAs in a short period of time. So you could imagine like my MGA team was big, but then it kind of thinned out.
Yes.
Right. But then my RGA team was big. So it was 2009. I got promoted to an MGA.
Yep.
That year I made like $120,000.
Yep.
More money than any of my family ever made at that point.
Yes.
2010. I got promoted to a RGA, and I made like $200,000. In 2011, we were number 3 RGA, and I made like $500,000, $512,000.
Was that the year you and Justin spent like $100,000 at
2011?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2011, I made $500,000. No, it wasn't until 2012. Until, you know, we
Ross Park?
We went to Ross Park Mall every week and
yeah.
spent, you know,
a check.
Money that I wouldn't recommend to doing to anybody ever again. Yeah, we would call it, we're Rick Ross Park Mall. We're going to Rick Ross Park Mall, and we would place like some Juicy J, and, you know, he talks about spending money in the song, and we go to the thing, and we would spend money at the mall, you know, and that year, 2012, though, we ended up getting on stage as top RGA. I made over $900,000. I was making, 19,000 $19,000 a week on average. Fourth year with the company. I'm 28 years old or something at this point.
Yeah.
You'd never seen anything like that. So you go to the mall and spend some money, for a while. But looking back at it, that wouldn't be my financial advice for anybody at all. You know.
When'd you get the Moz?
I think I even told. I was probably always preaching to you guys. Too.
You guys always were, and I was like,
you better.
And then
not
I heard that
spending all
story.
your money.
I heard that story. I was like, nah, they spent it.
I did spend it, but that's why you should not do it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I did it, so you don't do it.
Yeah, I made the mistake.
No, I definitely. I think I blew a lot of money on car mistakes, like not buying cars like Brody, but mistakes with cars, just like not sleeping and being stupid with the cars.
Yes.
So that cost me a fortune.
Wrecking cars.
Wrecking cars will cost you a lot of money.
It will. Yeah, for sure.
It will cost you a lot of money. So as you're making $900,000, you're 4 years into working an American Income Life with Simon. What year did you get married?
2015, so that would be my 7 years in the business.
Did you get married in Italy? Was it your wedding in Italy or was it?
Well, no, Matty D got married in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, we did our honeymoon in Italy though.
Is he Is Matty D Italian?
Yeah.
For real?
Diolis. It's a good Italian name.
Yeah, that is pretty Italian. Now, is he half or is he?
He's not 100%.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I can't speak for Matty D.
Yeah.
But try and tell him he's not Italian and see what he says.
I'm gonna shoot him a text right now. So,
but yeah, his was in Italy.
Where'd you go? How many times have you been in Italy?
Just those two times. We went for our honeymoon, which was amazing. I can't say, American Income is just great because I went for our honeymoon. We went for almost a whole month. We were gone and came back and, nothing, not skipped a beat. Got paid the whole time, just like as if I was here,
Yep.
And then for his wedding, he got married out there. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. My parents got to come. His parents were there. We had all of our friends there, family. I definitely wanted to go back and do something like that again for sure.
What's your favorite part of Italy?
I think right now, out of all the places, I really enjoyed Lake Como. I haven't been to the Amalfi Coast, so I from what I hear, I'm probably going to enjoy that. But as far as Italy goes, but I like Sicily. All of Sicily.
Where do you do the boat tours?
You mean
through the cities
with the gondola?
Yeah, where they take you throughout the city. You can.
That's in Venice.
Have you been there?
No, haven't been to Venice.
So Sam went there and he fell in trying to get out. He fell into the water.
Oh my God!
What? He fell into the water, completely fell into it. They were making fun of him in Italian, the tour people or whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking knowing Sam, he might have. Maybe he did it on purpose.
Maybe. I don't know.
He just wanted to jump. He's like, I'm jumping in this water.
He said it smelled bad. Well, I can imagine. I don't know. He said it was gross. But yeah, so he fell in Venice or whatever. So that was hilarious. What was the food like?
Best.
Yeah.
Best. Yeah. I mean, you can't really get it here. It's just different. It's different.
Have you been to Little Italy in Chicago?
No, I haven't been to Little Italy. I haven't been into no.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
There's got to be
one.
There's got to be.
No, yeah, there is a Little Italy. I looked it up. I just can't remember the name of the town that it's
I hate the traffic. I don't even go really into the city. I hate the traffic so bad.
You're right, man. I try to avoid it too. Next week they're releasing the vax mandate though.
Yeah, they're getting rid of it. So So that's another reason why I won't.
Free reign. Now you could just
go down there.
Yeah, go down to dinner if we want.
Have you tried a lot of places down there? Anything you like that stands out?
Yeah.
Or just in general? I just go to the Capitol Grill right here.
How about you? Where did you go?
I just go to the Capitol Grill, but in the city, I've done Nobu, I've done Maple and Ash, I've done some different places.
Yeah.
Everything's good, but it's not worth me spending 4 hours of driving. You know what
It's
I mean?
a
2 hours
lot.
there, 2 hours back. And,
Dude, it's a lot.
And then
a
it's
lot.
like you're gonna spend at least $1,000. So it's like
you got to really make a good day of it if you're going to go down there.
and if you bring
plan
friends
stuff out.
or whatever, they always expect you to pay.
And you know, you have to be on a schedule. And, you know, I just want to go down and just hang out and walk around and,
Yeah.
you know, just shop around and not have to like, all right, well, we got 2 more hours and then we got to hurry up and be like, it's
Yeah.
because you're only in town for a certain amount of time, you know?
Yep.
But it's awesome down there. I really like it. I enjoy it.
Have you been in the Trump Towers?
I haven't stayed overnight yet.
Yeah.
But if you go to Trump Towers, I think it's called Terrace 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's an outdoor patio. It's like rooftop.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. Terrace 13, something like that.
Sounds familiar.
It's really, really, really awesome. So I went there a few times. Definitely would recommend to go there. If you have people coming into town, you want to show them the city.
Yeah.
Take them to Trump Tower, Terrace 13. Obviously, you got to be good weather.
Have you been in the 96? Restaurant 96 or whatever?
Yeah.
It's that 96 floors up.
Mm-hmm.
That place is sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is sweet. The food wasn't crazy, but it was a cool experience.
Did you eat dinner there?
Yeah, we ate dinner.
Did you go to like the lounge or did you go to the big, like it's like a big.
I think I know what you're talking about. There's like a lounge. We just went to the restaurant both times.
So there's like a big restaurant though, right?
Yeah.
Right, tables everywhere.
Yeah, just tables everywhere and
Yeah.
shit like that. It's
Mhm.
pretty tight.
So I only been to the lounge
Okay.
upstairs, and that's pretty darn cool. You know, you just sit around like we're hanging out here. They bring your drinks over, and
Yeah.
right behind us is the windows, and you're literally like overlooking the city. So I've been meaning to go back there. That would be something cool to take the team down there, hang out with some friends, or when you have visitors.
Yeah.
Let's pop up here for a drink, and you hop off an elevator, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Well, my next question is, what's the most you made in a week, and what's your residuals clearing at?
yeah, in a week, you know, it's been documented, and we've had weeks where with bonuses paid out because the company pays bonuses, and it just so happened on the same week we got our residual income.
Yeah.
Right. And it just so happened for the week that we had a killer week.
Yeah.
Over 100,000.
Wow.
In 1 week.
That's insane.
We'll never forget that. Never forget that. But I think one cool week before that happened, we were in Puerto Rico, 2013 or something. We were in Puerto Rico. I mean, I was 16. We were #1 RGA, and I was hanging out with Matty D and his dad.
Yeah.
Me and my dad. And we're in Puerto Rico for convention because he always brought his dad with him.
Yep.
And Justin brings his dad. I bring my dad, you know.
Yeah.
And we got paid on Friday. And the income report came out. And it was so cool because, like, I think, like, I made, like, 60-some thousand. You know, Matty D made, like, 45, 50,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And we were in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And like, between me and you, they just paid us $100,000 this week, man. And we're 2 kids from McKees Rock, from Pittsburgh, technically, you know. And at one point, me and him were buddies, you know. So we're in our young 20s, and we had to go out. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
You can't just sit around. What are you gonna do? And he's like, dude, I mean, what are we going to do? I don't got no money. I mean, we can't be going out balling out tonight.
This is the 12 story?
Yeah. So he's like, dude, he's like, I got $5. And I'm like, all right, I got $7 or something like that, right? And we added up the money that we had. And it added up to $12. And we said, all right, we got $12. We're going to make a night of it tonight, man. So then we're calling around, and we find out that this place called Zen had dollar drinks.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, oh, dollar drinks. We're gonna we're gonna be able to at least get going here, right?
Yeah.
So we show up to the door, and they're like $5 cover. So we're like, oh, no one has told us about the $5 cover. We just thought it was dollar drinks.
Yeah.
So our $12 quickly went to $2, and now we had to walk into the bar, and we had to go up to the bar and each get a dollar drink, right? But we only had $2. So now we go into the corner. I'm like, all right, here's $2. All right, go up there and get us 2 beers. And he's like, I'm not going up there and getting 2 beers on dollar beer night and not give a tip. Like, we know the bartender. We're not doing that. And I'm like, well, one of us got to do it. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. So we rock, paper, scissors in the corner to see who has to go up and buy the beers, because we didn't want to be in the embarrassment of not tipping. Right?
Yeah.
Somehow, of course, we had a blast that night, but that's just a memory, because, I mean, that same night we held a picture up and we held a picture of, like, I held a 1, he held a 2 up, and it was like $12, because a couple years ago we were going out on the night for $12. Now we're in Puerto Rico and
making 100,000.
Yeah, know, so that was pretty cool.
So, and then what are the renewals? What are they kicking out at now?
Like over 20, 22. 20 to 22.
Yeah, and that's off all old accounts.
Yeah, that's all business that's done. That's no new. That's all old for basically about 12 years. It took 12 years of building up to that, and then when you become an SGA, you switch to a new account. So that's all just off of RGA. Yep. I don't get any renewals into SGA until you retire. Is typically the way that they set it up. Yeah. And there's a couple different ways that we can get it, obviously. Yeah. Before we retire.
It's like way crazier for us, though. It's like,
so you need to... But the cool thing about it, man, you think about that is I didn't have to wait until I retired to start getting my residual income.
Absolutely.
Like, I was getting paid my retirement before while I was working. Yeah. So like, I think about the millions of dollars that the company paid over those years. Yeah. If I was getting 20 grand a year for 4 years, or 20 grand a month for 4 years, there's $1 million right there that they paid in residual income. Yep. That I didn't even retire yet. Yeah. Most people, if they wanted to get $1 million in retirement money, they would have to retire. Yeah. So that is, I mean, it's
incredible.
There's no way to put any words or numbers. Really, I tried to put both to the power of residual income.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's insane. Now, when you transition to Chicago, now how long have you been your own state director now?
It'll be 2 years in March.
2 years in March.
Yeah,
so it seems like it's
pretty
been
much
way
2
longer.
years. Pretty much 2 years.
So, well, how's the 2 years been so far?
Just like I would expect it to be. It's the first 2 years of starting a business, from scratch, in a brand new territory as well. And then on top of that, in a brand new world, because I moved out here and I told myself that, oh, well, I already know how to do the business. I've been doing it for 12 years. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing and it should work out. Yeah. Right? If you know how to bake a cake, if you just keep on using the recipe, I thought it would work. Well, come to find out that the pandemic hit and everything that I knew went completely out the window.
Dude, it was insane.
I can't keep doing what I'm going to do. Now I'm a new agency. All these people are dependent on us. So we had to just make it happen. Make it happen. But yeah, I mean, just getting off the ground, I didn't expect nothing less than, anything and everything that it would take. Whatever it takes is whatever it takes. And we just put everything into it, every resource, everything that we got from our toes to the top of our head, and but I knew that was what it was going to take. Yeah. Right. So it's been everything I expected, I think.
You won your category your first
and I'm not
year.
saying bad. Yeah. I'm not saying bad. It's what I wanted. I wanted this, get in there and get into the fight and get bloody and feel it a little bit, right? Yeah. So
now you won your category your first full year in then.
Yes, yeah. They put us in category 10 and
I mean you guys are right up there with category 3, 4. I mean you guys are doing
this year 60. They moved us up from 10 to 5. So we jumped like all the way up there. So we definitely got our hands full this year for sure. So it's fun to look at those reports and stuff, but Like I mean, it's good, and I use that to help the team, to show them that, you know, look, we're doing good. You know, we're doing
Yeah, yeah.
good, guys. But for us, you know, compared to our goals, right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, it's
because you've touched 500,000 a week. You know what I mean when it comes to production, if not more. So
yeah,
yeah, you probably 50,000, 60,000. It's like micro to what you're used to.
sure. Yeah, we've been there, so we know how to get there. We've been there
Yeah,
before, so we know how to get there. So that's why I've been there before. I know how to get there. So that's why, like, starting out was like pretty much, you know, everything I thought it was gonna be, but then it wasn't because of the pandemic.
yeah,
Which is like, all right, you know, look, it says you're recession proof.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
like we always said, we're recession proof.
yeah,
And then, if you look back historically at when the economy was down, you'll see AIL has a double-digit growth year.
yeah,
I did that before I started. I did research because I'm not just going to start working for a company based upon what
Yes.
someone said. So
Yeah.
I did research, and they told me that this company was up every time the economy was down. We're recession-proof. So I said, all right, let me do the research. So I pulled up that, and I pulled up the growth, and I saw that every time. So they throw the pandemic at us, right? And they say, you guys, you know, thought you were recession proof, right?
yeah,
Well, now let's see how you guys fare now.
yeah,
So our company stepped up in major ways. I think they said it was like a 9-day turnaround.
9 day. Yeah, yeah, it was quick.
And went from 100. I think we're the largest in-home life insurance company. Nobody sold more life insurance at people's kitchen tables than our company.
Yeah,
And we switched from being the largest in-home to the largest virtual, you know, in like a month or something. So that was a pretty cool story.
And
We were just part of all that. And, you know, we were able to adapt and evolve. And,
Yeah.
you know, they say the animals that are the strongest and the fastest and the biggest aren't always the ones that survive. It's the ones that can adapt.
Yep.
Right. So our company's obviously been able to adapt and make those changes. So, that was a huge part in starting the agency. We went through major changes, and if I and the agency was not able to make that change and adapt, then we would not be here today.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, when you moved here, I saw you touring the homes. What was the coolest house you got to see?
Man, it was not on purpose. It was crazy. I moved to Chicago, and they start taking us on these homes, and they send us a list. They're like, here's a couple homes that would meet your criteria in the area that you chose. And we go and we pick the homes out, like, oh, this one looks good. This one, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to go look at that home.
Yeah.
And the ones that they end up taking us to, we walk in, and one of them was Scottie Pippen's.
That's what I was like.
house.
I think I saw Scottie Pippen's house on Tommy's Story. I was trying to tell someone the other day.
So in the 90s, he had a big ass house, sweet pad, and you could tell it was like even a 90s type of vibe, right? But he had a big basketball court, and it was awesome. But someone else was owning that house, and they were selling it, so it was being sold by someone else.
Yeah.
Right. And then we go to look at another home, and we walk in, and there's a basketball court in this house, and guess what number's on it? 33.
Wow.
Scottie Pippen's house.
Yeah. Another one.
Again.
What the heck?
Yeah, he lived in Highland Park, and then his other house was right up the street, and this was the one he actually lived in, and he was selling that one. So both of them were for sale at the same time, right? It was
Yeah.
weird. And what was funny though is he had a china cabinet, china cabinet, I guess, in his living room, but he didn't have china in it. He had the NBA championship trophies were in it.
That's
Right.
hilarious.
And he had a Ziploc on it, so nobody could get in there, like one of those white Ziplocs.
Yeah.
You know, that's how.
How was that gonna do?
I mean, that's how he had them secured.
Yeah.
So. But you know, those houses were pretty nice, and the other one was Chuck Pagano. He was the defensive coordinator for the Bears at the time, so we looked at his house as well. But the neighborhood we live in now is really nice.
Your house is dope. You got is it indoor and outdoor pool?
Yeah. Yep. So we rented a house for a year in Glenview.
Yep.
And then we shopped around, and then we found a neighborhood, and this house in the neighborhood, everything was just amazing. The neighbors and the community, the schools.
Yep.
I mean, it's like.
What's your favorite
really
part of the
nice.
house?
The neighborhood. You know, if this house was in a different neighborhood, we wouldn't have got it. You know, like if we was just like on its own little road, like it's the community.
Yep.
It's a private community, and all the people, the neighbors are really nice, and but yeah, but as far as the house, the physical part of the house, man, it's hard to even say, man. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know, we've been spending more time, like in the studio downstairs, because there's like, we just got all of our toys down there, the TV, and you know, it's like more of a family setting. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Can't really say.
I started in your pad in Pittsburgh. We called in the basement.
We didn't. Is that when we didn't have the office because we were transitioning, right?
Yeah. So I got hired at Gibsonia. I worked there for a month, and then we were transitioning, and I spent the next month in your basement, and then the next month in South Hills, and then by my fourth month, I dropped 30,000, and we were in Wexford.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it was fun down at those basement nights. James Kiefer would come over. You'd have the what's the drink with the like burgundy cup, Moscow.
Oh, the Moscow Mules.
Mules.
That's
Everybody
a
had
copper cup.
Yeah, the copper cup, and it was fun, dude. I'm 18, 19 years old, making a bunch of money. There's just some rich ass dude, you know what I mean? Like just crazy basement. I was like, holy fuck.
I was like, we don't got nowhere to call. Let's go to the basement.
Yeah,
we'd order pizza.
Yeah, we'd be like 20, 30 of us down there. I mean, and your wife was cool with it. You know what I mean?
She was cool with it for sure. And you really got to, think about.
Kudos to her.
We just moved into this house. It's a brand new house.
Yeah.
When you move into a new house, you're like, take your shoes off, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, babe, I'm going to have a call session. Just a couple guys. Before you know it, there's cars lined up and down the street. My neighbors are thinking like, who's this person that just moved into the neighborhood?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Antonio just got home from the hospital. So she's like, you're bringing all these people. They're sick. She found out like one day that the one guy had a cold who was over our house. Right?
Yeah.
Now she has to disinfect the basement. And, and we got Antonio just came home from the hospital with, so for her to be cool with that and for us to make that happen was special too. Those were cool,
Yeah. Good memories.
Yeah, we'd have we did the competition where the top people for the hour would go down and shoot basketball. And whoever made the basketball got the prize.
Yeah. You had a mini hoop where we all tried to fight over the top. I feel like you or Urenko had the top score in the mini hoop.
Yeah. Well, if it's between me and Urenko, then I think who had the top score.
Yeah. You would get close. Now, what's the future vision for you? You know what I mean? Like where you want to live? You know what I mean? Is there any more? You want a bigger house? You want other cars or anything?
Yeah. I mean, I want everyone to be able to just get whatever they want.
Yeah.
And if they can get what they want, then I got what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then also I'd be able to get whatever I want too on top of that, because there really shouldn't be anything that you really want that you're not able to get if you just help. That's like, so it's crazy to say, but that's like kind of what I want to see is other people being able to do what some of the things I've done, but do it way bigger, way better.
Yeah.
Right. And they should, because today this AIL vehicle is souped up. It's supercharged compared to what we were driving
in the field. You can only train one person, 2 people at a time max.
Oh man. I mean, everything, the whole company in itself is just, compared to when I came in, it was already a sports car. It was already an exotic. It was already it was already flying by cars.
Everything. Yeah.
Now they just kept adding to it, making it better, faster, slicker, more aerodynamic, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And we're like a hybrid now,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, personally, where I want to live, I think you mentioned that. I kind of want to be able to just be wherever I want to be and not be tied down to anything at all. You know, obviously it sucks because we have to be in certain places at certain times, but I eventually want to, be able to have a situation where I don't have to be anywhere that I don't really want to be.
Yeah.
And we kind of can do that now. We're own boss. Nobody put a gun to our head to do anything, really.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just do what we want to do anyways. But I think for some reason, we're all trapped still. Like, we could do what we want, but some reason we don't. Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Not in a bad, destructive way. Like, I want to go out and be, like a party all day. I want to go out and just do what I want to do. Like, I want to have the ability to do what I want to do, but we're still kind of trapped in these boxes of, like, we got to go, like, my son got to go to school. How am I going to get around him going to school? Like, he has to go to school, so we have to live here. We have to
What's
be here.
Cardone do with it? I feel like
That's what I want. Like, we should be able to do what we want, whatever we want. And I want to get to that point a little bit more. But I also do like the structure of normalcy as far as being a citizen, community, and all that as well. But if I don't want to, I don't want to have. So as far as like living, though, I like living in Chicago. So
yeah,
I could see us always, just having a place out here. And we have ties in Pittsburgh, maybe getting a place in Pittsburgh, but really just being...
No warm place? I mean, they get warm for half the year, both places.
Yeah, warm place. Where would you want to live?
Texas.
Texas?
Dallas. Okay. Yeah. I always...
Is that why you always got the cowboy hat on?
Dude, well, I grew up in Arkansas, so, like, I only saw the Cowboys. Like, that's all I saw in the house growing up was the Cowboys, so...
Yeah.
Everybody was always talking about Troy Aikman, and
it's really nice in Texas.
Yeah,
Dallas.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love Dallas. You've been in the Globe Life stadiums and everything like that down there, dude. They're dope.
Yeah, really nice. Really
it's all a dope experience. As we wrap up here, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? That's a good one. I've watched so many movies.
Yeah.
You watch a lot of movies?
Yeah, shit ton of movies.
Yeah? All right.
Shit. That's
all right,
the only
good.
thing I like outside of this.
Sometimes I do movie quotes and stuff, and people don't get it. I'm like, that's cool. So,
yeah.
For me, I guess growing up, I watched like Top Gun growing up.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Top Gun.
They're coming out with 2, Top Gun 2.
I can't wait. I'm
excited.
renting out the movie theater for that one.
Yes, you got to.
Yeah, that Top Gun was probably my favorite if I had to say growing up. Karate Kid is just super classic though.
Yeah. Do you like on Netflix the Cobra Kai?
I haven't got into it. It's coming back though.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's all right. It's not bad.
It's all right.
I feel like shows are like a little much. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can't like completely commit to shows, but I'll
I
because
don't
if I watch a
commit to
movie,
that.
I gotta cut it up into pieces. You know what I mean? I'll get a little bit done today, a little bit done tomorrow.
I'm a movie guy. I don't watch the shows because it's too much of a...
Too much.
Yeah.
And then I get pissed. I have to wait for next season. I get like pretty angry. What the hell? I gotta wait.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I have on there. It switches between Troy, that's that Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yep. And then this one's a little more recent, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, and
I haven't seen it.
that has Charlie Hunnam or whatever, the dude from Sons of Anarchy, and really, they're both similar stories, but that one's more of like a comeback kid. You know what I mean?
King Arthur,
yeah, yeah, that King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. It's
watch it with the kids.
Yeah, very motivational. It's like good for like a wrestling pump up movie or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because like I try to like if we know we have a wrestling match the next day.
Yeah, I
movie
would put that on.
night. I put something like Karate Kid.
Yeah,
or something like that on.
Well, when I wrestled for two solid years. One year was in Arkansas when I was like Tommy's age. I was probably 6 or 7 or something, and did great, did phenomenal. But my major move was the head toss. I came to Western Pennsylvania, got back into wrestling 8th grade. The head toss did not work on these kids at all. I got obliterated, hated it. Then I just got into just being a bad kid. But a lot of the kids I wrestled with now are state champions, and like they do phenomenal. Like one of the kids that was in my like weight class in the same area was Spencer Lee. He was the
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's Western PA. He's right out there near all of us. So.
Yeah, he's a G.
All them kids.
Headlock, head toss, headlock,
Yep.
we try, and, in Western PA, they, I've noticed is like a theme a little bit.
Yeah.
They always, like, they say, we don't even teach the headlock. They don't teach it because when you get to older it doesn't work that well.
No.
It doesn't work that well.
People get so athletic and like it's real quick, sink their hips, and then you're
They
getting
can get
hip
out.
tossed.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's you just go with the inertia, and then you're getting tossed. So it's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, even like I tell Tommy, if he's in a match, I'm like, no, don't put the headlock in, man. It's like almost too easy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so
Well, he looks like he runs a lot of half Nelsons.
that's his move,
He
man.
just
Yeah.
put that like whatever. Just puts their head in there. Half Nelson, look like he's pinning these cats every time.
I wish he could do more arm bar, but it works. So
Oh yeah, dude, he's ripping these kids apart. It's dope. What about favorite restaurant? Mine's Napa Prime, but I haven't been all over.
Napa Prime in Pittsburgh.
Napa Prime in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay. If you're talking about Pittsburgh, Napa Prime is awesome for sure. I would like to sometime if I was to go to Pittsburgh right now, it would be like Hyde Park, Spork,
Yeah.
you know, or the Italian place, La Familia. Now in Chicago, I like to go downtown and go to RPM Seafood.
I've been there once. Phenomenal.
Best food I've had in the city. RPM.
They have an
Seafood.
RPM Italian.
I did have that, and
Wasn't that good?
Nah, I wasn't very impressed with it.
There's another Italian place that I hear is really phenomenal.
Siena Tavern. I had Siena Tavern.
Is that good?
Oh yeah, good.
I want to find a classic
Homemade.
Italian place that's like more of like where like mobsters or something used to go or
Yeah.
around because Chicago gotta have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any of those places.
Favorite book?
The
21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
you know that. Yeah, that was probably it.
Yeah, I remember you say because you reread it every year.
Yeah, we read it. I read it twice. Right now, what we do is we take all the future leaders in our agency,
Yep.
and we meet with them before they get in the leadership, and we meet with them once a week and go over the 21 laws of leadership with
Yep.
them. And they start on chapter 1, and we do all 21 laws. And after 21 weeks, they graduate, and they no longer are in the FBLA anymore.
Yeah.
So if you came in and let's say you were going to get in leadership, we would put you in like, let's say right now we're on chapter 8, you'd start on chapter 8.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have to stay on until you go all the way back around till chapter 8, and then you graduate at FBLA. Even if you get promoted, you still stay in them.
Wow.
You know. But anyways, so we do that twice a year, and that book helped me in leadership, which helped me tremendously in this business. Which, when you crush it in this business, it changes your life.
Yeah.
Forever. So that book, kind of
Changed
changed
your life.
my life.
Yeah, it changed your life.
But the more foundational one would be the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
It's my favorite,
My
too.
dad gave me that book, and he didn't give me the book. He actually gave me this big box
Mm-hmm.
of cassettes.
Wow.
Cassettes, and there was like 21 cassettes or something.
I bought a
20
Walkman
cassettes.
the other day.
Oh, really? They still
Yeah.
sell them?
Yeah, well, I got it on Amazon. It was kind of expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, one of my favorite movies was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I wanted to really
Yes.
experience. So I got the cassette from the movie and then the Walkman too. So
That's awesome, man. Dude, I was huge cassette guy. Huge on cassettes, man.
Love it.
I had the Walkman.
feels different than the beats. I like the feeling I get from the music from the Walkman. It's more of like a livey feeling, if that even makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but you almost feel like you're there.
We used to listen to the radio. So some people might be able to relate to this. We used to listen to the radio, and then if they were playing a song that you would like, you had your blank cassette in there.
Wow.
You would hit record. So every night they had the top 8 at 8,
Yeah.
and I would record the top 8 at 8, and then I made a mixtape.
Ah.
And then on my way to school in the morning, I would be at my bus stop and
Yeah.
listen to the cassette
That's
tape.
what it
Yeah.
is.
But my dad ended up giving me 21 cassettes of Think and Grow Rich,
Wow.
when I was like younger, 18 or something like that.
Wow.
So that's a good one too.
Anything else on your mind? We've been ripping for a while. Anything else on your mind you want to get out there?
No, man, it's been definitely mean, definitely good just catching up and just talking, man.
For
You
sure.
know, just he's asking me all these questions, so I'm just trying to think of the answers. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure, dude. So, if any of the audience, don't work with our company and they want to work with you, where can they find you, or where could they contact you?
Yeah, that's the Vena Agency.
Yep.
So our website's just thevenaagency.com.
Dope.
And you just really just go right on there. So that's the easiest way. And we got like social media, Instagram,
Yep.
Facebook, and now YouTube. They're doing make some YouTube videos.
Dope.
But yeah, that'd be the best places.
Sounds good. Well, we got another episode logged. Thank you again, Tommy. Have a great day. Peace, y'all.
Thanks, man.